right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the first live stream of 2025. We made it, folks. We're here. It's 2025. The year 2000 was a quarter of a century ago. I'm not trying to make y'all feel old this morning, but when that reality started to sink in, I was like, dang, time sure has gotten away from us. It's good to see y'all here in the comment section before we get started. Always good to see people waiting and ready to go, and I really appreciate you taking time out of your day. I'm only going to be able to go for about maybe 30 minutes today. I got some things I got to take care of this afternoon, but I did want to stop by and just talk about how that already this year is getting off to a bang, no pun intended. It's really I saw a meme earlier of the Tesla car sitting outside a Trump Tower, and it said, you know, hey Siri, give me the perfect metaphor for for the coming year. And that's a crazy story. I'm still following it and still bringing myself up to speed on all of it. But one thing I've noticed right out of the gate is, of course, Trump is going to try to find a way to blame all this on Democrats and blame this on the border. And so I wanted to read this article here. One of the things I wanted to do here was read this article with you guys. This is from The Hill, but Trump blames open borders for the New Orleans and Las Vegas attacks. So let's take a look at this together here. President-elect Trump blamed the situation at the southern border for the recent attacks in New Orleans and Las Vegas, railing against President Biden for his immigration policies as both cases are being investigated. The man who plowed a pickup truck into a crowd in New Orleans, killing at least 15 people, has been identified as, I can't pronounce his name, but he's been identified as a U.S. citizen from Texas. The Cybertruck explosion that happened outside the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas was caused by firework mortars and camp fuel canisters, and the suspect was an Army veteran from Colorado, according to the local news report. But still, Trump rallied on Truth Social that the border under Biden has led to the violent crime. And he says this, with Biden's open border policy, I said many times during the rallies and elsewhere that radical Islamic terrorism and other forms of violent crime will become so bad in America that it will become hard to even imagine or believe, the president-elect wrote. That time has come, only worse than ever imagined. Joe Biden is the worst president in the history of America, a complete and total disaster. What he and his group of election-interfering thugs have done to our country will not soon be forgotten, MAGA. I mean, the guy always tops like he's your drunk uncle on Facebook. It's ridiculous. The suspect in New Orleans was carrying an ISIS extremist group flag on the trailer hitch of the truck he rented for the attack. The FBI said it was working to determine their potential associations and affiliations with extremist organizations. Shortly after midnight on Thursday, Trump also said the USA is breaking down after the attacks. Says our country is a disaster, a laughingstock all over the world. This is what happens when you have open borders and weak, ineffective, and virtually non-existent leadership. The DOJ, FBI, and Democrat state and local prosecutors have not done their job. So we can see here it's all about finding a way to blame it on everyone. And of course, it's got to be the country's got to be going to hell when he comes in. You know, he's going to always have to paint that picture. See where I leave off there. Democrats should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this to happen to our country. The CIA must get involved now before it is too late. The USA is breaking down. A violent erosion of safety, national security, and democracy is taking place all over our nation. And he ended his late night message by saying, see you on January 20th, which is the day he will be sworn in. The president-elect, just hours after the attack, posted a similar message centered on immigration that he shared while on the campaign trail, though he did not explicitly weigh in on the citizenship status. However, he has jumped to the conclusion that the attacker was not a citizen. Biden's remarks delivered Wednesday said that the suspect posted videos on social media hours before the attack that indicated he was inspired by ISIS and had a desire to kill. But that was from The Hill there. And of course, Donald Trump is going to try to spin this that way. And the thing about his followers is they won't read past the headline. They'll just sit back and wait for whatever Fox News or QAnon decides to tell them this is, and they'll run with it. And that's one of the hardest things when you're trying to, do content like this and come up and report on a story. One of the hardest parts about it is when you start looking at the headlines, and you can literally see, if you just go to Google and type in the word New Orleans and then hit news, all the headlines and the way they read, you can tell. You could almost read them out loud to me, and I could tell you, yeah, that's a Fox headline for sure, and that's an MSNBC headline. Oh, and this headline over here might be from the Associated Press. That seems a little bit more reasonable, but for the most part, you can always tell that the headlines are slanted. And a lot of people don't read past the headlines, and that's one of the hardest parts. Is that you have people who don't read past the headlines, and then they just sit and speculate a lot of different things. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves is when people will sit around and just speculate on what could have happened, what couldn't have happened, and just sort of draw their own conclusions and then pass it off as fact. I've had so many conversations with my friends over the years about that very thing because none of us was there. You know, we're learning about this and we're learning as we go. But of course, Donald Trump has to take it and turn it into that. And to me, that just divides us even further. It just sows division even worse. It's always, you know, there's things that's going to happen on Donald Trump's watch, and of course, when it happens to him, it will somehow be our fault. It always is. But yeah, I hope everyone is doing good. Hope everyone's getting ready for 2025. I did say in a video that I made yesterday that, you know, I said many times that if we was to have won this election, I said we're just going to be kicking the can down the road because they're ready to start putting Project 2025 in place right now. And so I said we'll be kicking that can down the road if Kamala wins. Well, she didn't, and here we are. There's no kicking it down the road now, folks. It's upon us. So we have to continue to push forward and put the work in and call this stuff out. But it's just very disheartening that we're going to have a leader again who's going to be this divisive. You know, if you'll notice, the guy never really, usually, if anything, after he's ranted in all caps about something, he'll come in right at the end maybe to briefly say, and our hearts goes out to the victims. But he hardly ever does that. It's just always, how can I stoke as much fear? How can I stoke as much paranoia? And how can I stoke as much rage in people? And sadly, that's where we're at, and that's where we're going to be for a while. So we just got to keep doing everything we can to change things, because we're up against people who aren't going to read past the headline. We're up against people who's going to speculate. We're up against people who's going to scroll till, you know, they find the article that fits their preconceived notion. And one of the things about doing this kind of content that I've found is that you really have to dig in, and you have to start looking at things, and you have to see how everyone's reporting on it. You have to see, you know, the different angles that people are coming at. And sometimes as you're researching something and looking into it, you're going to find things that you don't like the sound of, that you wished wasn't true. There's been times on the channel that I've started to do a video or done a video and then had to come back and tell you guys, hey, you know, I talked about that yesterday, but that was satire. That actually didn't happen. I remember I can't remember exactly what it was. It's been back earlier this year. Marjorie Taylor Greene said something outlandish. Go figure. And I made a post about it, and come to find out that was a satirical article. And I remember saying to myself, I was like, well, it was definitely believable. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is that crazy, and she is that out there. I think there was another one I did on RFK Jr., and I had to backtrack and say, nope, he really didn't do that. But when you hear the Bear Cub story, it's totally believable. So sometimes you just got to dig a little deeper, and when you do, you're going to find out things that you don't necessarily want to hear. You know, and that's where MAGA stops right there. They just go for what they want to hear, and I'm afraid that's what we're going to be dealing with as we go forward. But again, thank you guys so much for being here with me. I want to remind everybody. I want to say a shout out to Ferguson, who became a new YouTube member. One of the perks about being a YouTube member is I usually have the videos up early to the members, unless I'm running behind. The members usually get the videos a couple hours earlier. Sometimes they'll get them the night before, because sometimes I'll sit down the night before and record my videos and set them to come out so the members see them first. So yeah, shout out to S. Ferguson for becoming a new member. Also want to remind everybody, yes, I am over on Blue Sky. I have people asking me that all the time. I think we're closing in over on Blue Sky. We're closing in. We might have hit it. We're closing in on 100,000 followers over there. That platform's taking off really good. Yeah, I'm at 99.4. So I'm over on Blue Sky if you want to follow me over there. Also, I'm on Facebook, Instagram. Facebook, type out Tennessee Brando in full. Instagram is TN_Brando. I don't really post on TikTok anymore because I never can get my feet on the ground, and I just got so frustrated with that app. I've got over 200,000 followers on there, But every time I get on there, I get a community guideline violation, or I get shadow banned and pushed to the bottom and suppressed. And since the YouTube channel is doing so well, I just much rather stick around here and do this where I can at least be heard. I like the TikTok app, and I like a lot of the creators on there. I follow, different people. I follow Hawk and, Mr. Global and Tom Powell and Texas Trey's over there, and Thomas DeVille and Bishop. There's a bunch of people that I really appreciate their content, and I'll go to TikTok and watch it, and a lot of times we'll repost their videos. But every time I've posted here lately, it's just been sent to the bottom of the pile, and that gets super frustrating. So I don't know what they're going to do with that app. If the ban's going to happen or not. I heard that Trump's told them to pause on that one. And I hate to say it, but if Trump saves TikTok, he's going to come in with an approval rating up because so many people uses that app. But I've just been so frustrated with it in general and that's where I started. I mean, that's where I took off at, was on TikTok. I hate the fact that it's that way because I do like the layouts of the app, the way the functioning of it, the way you can record your videos so conveniently, and there's a good community of people there. But it's just so frustrating to get ahead. I never can seem to get any traction, and every time I do, like, I'll post a video and I might get lucky and that video might get 50 or 60,000 views. Hell, I had one get 1 million. Then the very next video I post get like 10 views, and it just sits there froze with no one commenting, no one seeing it. And then I'll get a community guideline violation. And one that I got that was totally ridiculous, it said that I was trying to influence people to watch my videos. I kind of thought that was the whole point of what we do. I thought the whole idea, no matter whether you're doing political content or you're falling down a set of stairs or you're wrecking on a skateboard, you're still trying to get people to watch you do it, are you not? So that was totally ridiculous to me. I was like, that's a new one. You're trying to influence people to watch your channel. That's kind of strange. And then, on there you've got the option to pin a person's comment, put it up in the screen and address that comment. Well, that person can be bullying you or calling you names, and if you bring that comment up on the screen and talk about it, and then that person reports you for bullying, it's so ridiculous. So I'm not on TikTok. I mean, I'm there. I've got a channel. From time to time I post to it. Maybe if they eventually get that whole thing sorted out, maybe I'll come back over there. I do like I said, I like the people there, a lot of the content creators. I've been on some lives with some really good people, but it's just a frustrating app to try to get any momentum on. So, but yeah, Facebook, Instagram, I'm over on Blue Sky, and we crossed over 500,000 subs here on YouTube. And I truly, truly do appreciate you for that. We're up to 506, which is mind boggling to me. I'm in a town with a population of 9,000 people. So, when I think about 500,000 and just the fact that, 1,500, close to 1,600 is watching right now, it's pretty crazy to me because I'm just such a little small part of the world and kind of isolated here, really. But I really appreciate you guys for taking time out of your day to be here with me. I also want to give a shout out to Vol Queen. Thanks for moderating. I know she's been feeling under the weather, and I hope that hope you're feeling good, and I hope that you bounce back really soon. I don't know. The older I get, the harder it is for me to bounce back from it. So I hope that all goes well and you're feeling better soon. Funny story, not to get sidetracked, but I drink Gatorade every day, and I was told that only people that have hangovers drink Gatorade, or people playing sports. But I literally drink it every day. Maybe it was from all my years of drinking that I had to have it the next day to rehydrate. But I don't know what to do without it. So yeah, orange Gatorade for me. I can pretty much drink any flavor, but I'm not too fond of the lime. The lime's my least favorite. But I really appreciate you guys for being here with me, and hope everyone is doing well. I wanted to also, if I can pull this one up, I wanted to read another article because this story was interesting to me. Let's see if I can find it back here for you guys. Let's see. I'm still learning the ropes of my program here to do what I do. So this is pretty interesting. So President Trump awards presidential medals to Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson. And Trump's got to be throwing ketchup at the wall on this one. This is from Aaron Parnas over at the Midas Touch Network, but I did want to read this just for a second. Today, President Biden announced that he will be awarding the Presidential Citizens Medal to 20 individuals, including former Congresswoman Liz Cheney and Congressman Benny Thompson. The medal is one of the highest awards that a president can grant to a civilian and is given to United States citizens who performed, I can't say that word, who performed deeds of service for their country or their fellow citizens. Both Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson served as key leaders of the January 6th committee, with Thompson serving as the chairman of the committee. President Biden's award of the medal to Thompson and Cheney underscore the impact the two had on the investigation into the actions of Donald Trump and his associates leading to and on January 6, 2021. This award also comes just days before the 4-year anniversary of the devastating January 6th insurrection. Other individuals who will receive the medal include Mary, I can't pronounce her last name, the attorney who argued for marriage equality in front of the United States Supreme Court, former Senator Chris Dodd, and former Senator Ted Kaufman. Many have called on the president to go even farther and award pardons to Thompson, Cheney, and remaining members of the J6 committee before Trump takes office again. It's unclear on whether he'll do so. And I know a whole lot of people have a lot of different opinions on whether or not he should pardon them, because a lot of people says, well, a pardon is a lot of people would view a pardon as a sign of guilt. But Donald Trump has made it clear. I mean, one of the things he's definitely made clear all the way, I mean, from the time actually, if you think about it, he was always running for president, even on January 6th. He campaigned the entire time. And he's always been about revenge and retribution. And since he's become president-elect, that's all we've heard him talk about. Now, them getting this medal is probably only going to fire him up even more. So I really would just say go ahead and pardon him, honestly, because they did do the right thing. They did investigate him. They did bring the truth. And it's sad that we're here. It's sad that an insurrectionist is about to lay his hand on the Bible and swear to protect the Constitution when he said himself he would terminate it at any time he seen fit. It's just disgusting that we're here. And they did everything they could to prevent it and to bring the truth to light. So I hope that I definitely hope they get a pardon. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people on our side disagrees with that and thinks that they shouldn't. Because they've not done anything wrong. Well, no, they've not done anything wrong, but you've got a guy coming in with immunity for official acts. And I mean, do you think there's ever going to be a moment when Trump does something and he goes, oh, well, yeah, you're right, that one wasn't official? No, he's going to go back if something comes up on him from 30 years ago and say, oh, I had immunity for that. So, I think they should just go ahead and pardon him, because he's just going to have a field day if they don't. And when he's calling for these military tribunals and stuff of Liz Cheney, he reposting these things. And a lot of times when I'll do videos on stuff like that and I talk about, the repost that Trump makes, it's so funny to me how people argue that and say, well, that's just a repost, man. He was just making a repost about that. And I'm like, yeah, but if I repost something, it's something that I found interesting or it's something that I agreed with, and then I shared it. I don't share something I disagree with. And so I really feel like that when he reposts things like that, people say, well, he didn't really say that. He just reposted it because he found it interesting. No, what he's doing is testing the water. And he's all about revenge and retribution, and so is MAGA. They're all about it. They can't wait to see him on the libs. They would love to see him go after Liz Cheney or Benny Thompson. So, it's not going to do them any good, though, by the way. It's not going to actually help improve their lives at all, but it's just going to give them that flex they so desperately want. And so, yeah, I say go ahead and pardon them. But before we go here, I do want to get back here and thank Christy for this super sticker. Thank you so much for that. Also, thanks to I can't remember if I can say that, Psychos. I give up. But thank you for the tip. I really appreciate it. Good morning, Brando. Things people tend to forget. Number one, no motive has been officially released from the authorities. And number two, the man was a former military and U.S. citizen. And number three, they had an immigration bill until Trump said no. And that's very true. I'm glad you brought that point across. Thank you for bringing that to the table. I also want to say thanks to Travis for the super sticker, and says, hang in there, Brando. I really appreciate it. I'm going to definitely try, man. I appreciate you. And also to Jeanette, who gifted a Tennessee Brando membership. And again, if anyone become a new member during the live, one of the perks is you get the videos sooner. Usually release them to the members only before they hit the public. So that's pretty cool. And we do some members only live streams from time to time. I need to get back in the saddle and do one. I haven't done one in a little bit. But it's pretty cool. So you guys check that out if you get a chance. But I'm going to stick around for another few minutes. I got some things I got to take care of this afternoon. But I hope everyone has a great day and a great 2025. I know it's going to be. I mean, we're going into uncertain times, and we're waking up to all this crazy news, and it's just kind of a prelude as to what's to come. And I'm not saying that Joe Biden was perfect. I'm not saying that by any means. I'm not saying he didn't make mistakes along the way. But I always felt like that when we had moments that he would step forward and approach it in a sane, reasonable way. For all the people out there that complained about his stutter, I always thought that was the most ridiculous thing. I would much rather have an older man who had to take his time saying something than just somebody who's a loose cannon and completely off the rails. And so whenever something happens, we look to the president to see what they're going to say. And when we had Joe Biden, whether you agree with him on every single issue or not, you knew that he was going to approach it with some compassion. He was going to approach it with some level of respect. And with Trump, when you think about, things happening, and the way he approaches it, just typing in all caps like a toddler, it's just so disheartening to know that we're going to be led by somebody like that again, somebody who's that big of a buffoon. And there's nothing annoys me worse than when he starts saying, I know more about this than anybody. I know more about that. I'm like, no, you don't. And I don't understand how anyone can look to that dude. I'll never figure it out how they can look to that dude as a symbol of strength, other than he just simply, like I've said so many times, he empowers that hatred. And that hatred ain't just for, people of a different color that they don't like, or people coming to this country, or it's not that. It's also their hatred for us. They love to hate on people like us and watch us get frustrated by things. It just shows you how miserable their lives are. When I have people like sending me messages laughing at me over a video I made, and laughing that I was reporting on something, and just, laughing and mocking me, I say to myself, that person has to live a pretty miserable life. They have to be pretty miserable that you would go out of your way to message somebody to laugh at what it was they were saying, or mock what it was that they were saying. I have never messaged Tim Pool, like I have never messaged, Ben Shapiro or somebody like that, because I don't take them seriously. Like, as a matter of fact, that the Charlie Kirk dude, I didn't report on him for the longest time because I didn't even know, I couldn't tell if that guy was real or just some sort of satirical actor. I was like, is that a spoof? Is that guy really that stupid? For real? And so there for the longest time, I would see him say stuff and say, that's got to be a spoof. Like, that's got to be some kind of comedic skit. That dude's probably a liberal in disguise, just trying to show how stupid they are. And then people's like, no, he's a real dude. He means that. I'm like, oh, okay. So, but I never have sat and wrote him a letter and been like, oh, I'm laughing at you, But that's how they are. Their lives are that miserable that they take time out of their day to send. Just like he types in all caps, they do it too. They type in all caps to me. Laughing at whatever it is we're talking about that day. But it just goes to show you how they don't take anything seriously, and don't realize what's headed right at them. I've said this in a previous video, but it's just true. We didn't get what we voted for, but they're not getting what they voted for either. They're not going to get all the things they thought they were going to get. We're already seeing it start to come unraveled, and we're already seeing Elon Musk pulling the strings for Trump, and so they're not going to get what they want out of this, but they'll strut around like they did. It's pretty ridiculous, but I do appreciate you guys for being here. Someone says, I've felt this same feeling, if I can catch this comment before it gets away from me. Karen, I agree. I'm pulling this up because I felt this. I dread the next 4 years and doubt we will get to vote again, and the South African rich man can go back to Africa. Yeah, I've felt that so much about will we get to vote again? I hate to say that, but I really have felt that same level of dread as to what's going to happen going forward. So I know a whole lot of people are feeling that way, and I understand you're feeling that way, and you have every right to. But we just got to realize that our country has been through a lot in the past, and we've made it. We've survived it. One podcast that I would highly recommend is called American Elections, The Wicked Game. They made an episode for every election, from the very first one all the way. They just did one on Harris and Trump. And so It's really good. They break it down really well. And what they basically show you is that elections have always been corrupt. Elections have always been dirty. When people says, "Oh, politics are dirty these days," it used to not be that way. No, it's been that way from the beginning of time. It might not just have been talked about as upfront as it is now, and everybody didn't have a cell phone in their pocket to just go get the information. But if you go back and study, some of the early ones like Adams and Jefferson, they brought out the fact that Jefferson had children by slaves and had cheated on his wife. They got real dirty in some of those early elections. I've been meaning to go listen to more of them because there's been many times in American history that we thought we were on the verge of losing our democracy, or we thought we had just elected a dictator, and we somehow managed to pull through. I know it seems kind of hopeless at the moment, considering they got the presidency, the Supreme Court, the Senate, and the House. I understand that, but I just feel like that we've been down before, and the only thing we can do is to continue to move forward and just continue to put in the work, because MAGA's not going to. They're too busy flexing at the rest of us. But I really do appreciate you guys for being here. We've got a few more minutes, and let's see if anyone else has hit the memberships. Okay, so yeah, we want to real quick give a shout out to the socially distant camper for the super sticker. We just need to sit and wait. Love you, Brando. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Also, thanks to Grace for the super sticker, and to Adriana for the super sticker. I really appreciate you so much. Hope everyone. The name of that podcast again was American Elections: The Wicked Game. It's really good. And again, if you go back and I just listened to some of the early episodes, and then I think I jumped ahead because I wanted to listen to Kennedy and Nixon. But you can literally listen to every episode. It's really cool. Also, I want to give a shout out to my good buddies over at the One More for the Good Guys podcast. I was on their podcast a few weeks ago, and then they came on mine. And I released that episode over on Patreon. But if you get a chance, go check out One More for the Good Guys. They're here on YouTube. They do a lot of cigar reviews and a lot of sports reviews, and they're just two of my really good friends, and we believe in helping each other out and letting everybody know where they're at. I've been on their show a couple of times, and they came on mine. I've been doing. I brought back an old radio show. Well, let me explain this. So, years ago, when the pandemic started, a buddy of mine started up an independent internet radio station. It was called Real Knoxville Music. It's no longer with us, and I really miss it and wish that it was. But when he started that, he reached out to me because all our gigs had dried up, and he reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in doing like a radio show on there where I would just sit and spin local music. And I really enjoyed doing that. It kind of paved the way for Tennessee Brando in some ways, because it got me to, just sitting and talking more at the time, but just talking into a microphone audio wise. But people would tune in every Tuesday. I had a show on there that I called Serious Honk, which was a joke. But and the joke came from one time I was playing at this bar years ago. I was playing this little dive bar in Jellicoe, Tennessee. And this dude walked up to me at the end of the night. He kind of looked like a Dollar General Steve Austin. And he walked up to me and he like flexed at me. And he's like, "You guys was pumping out some Serious Honk." And I just started laughing. I thought that was hilarious. And I told my buddy, I said, one of these days I'm going to make an album called Serious Honk as a joke. And then when I started to do that radio show, I had to come up with a name for it. And that's what I called it. And it was all a joke. But I would sit there and play local music from Knoxville and the surrounding area. And then I would bring on musicians from around here and interview them. And we had a good time with it. Well, that radio station is no more. It's not around anymore. I really hated to see it go. But I decided to bring it back over on Patreon. So be sure to check out my Patreon if you haven't already. I've had several episodes of Serious Honk, a couple where I've reviewed albums. But then I had Mike and Jamie from One More for the Good Guys podcast. I had them on there with me. I think we talked for over 2 hours. Then I had Bill Altman, who was a fan and a YouTube member that I met in a hotel in Nashville. I was down in Nashville just hanging out, and I ate some breakfast in the hotel there, and there was this guy sitting over from me. I noticed he kept glancing over in my direction, and then finally he walked up, and as he come toward me, I could tell he was going to approach me, and that can go either way. You don't know if someone's going to say, "I love what you do," or they're going to tell you to go to hell. So far, no one's ever told me to go to hell in person. I'm still waiting for it. But so far, knock on wood, it's been positive. And Bill walked up and was like, "Hey, I follow you on YouTube. I'm a YouTube member." And I was like, "Wow, he's like, "Do you mind if I sit down?" And I said, "No." And we ended up talking for, God, I'd say 30 or 45 minutes just sitting there in that hotel breakfast. And I found out that Bill was a musician, a guitar player, and had been playing for years. And so I had him on Serious Honk over on Patreon, and he and I sat and had a really good conversation about. And it was cool because with him we talked politics and music and a little bit of everything. So that was a great episode, and I've got some pretty cool people in the works lined up to do some more shows like that. I've been steering a little bit more of like non-political content over to Patreon just so we can have some place to take a break from it all. And so, yeah, we have a lot of fun over there doing that. So if you get a chance to check it out, be sure to do so. Before I go, real quick, I got to run, but I want to say thanks to Tammy, who gifted a Tennessee Brando membership. Also, thanks to Dolly Deer. Thank you for that. Become a new member. Kate Russell, thank you so much. Thank you for that super sticker. I'm sometimes terrible at pronouncing these names, so thank you for that super sticker. Become a new member. And Griffless just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And then Mandy's Candy, a member for 4 months. Brando, you're amazing. Thank you. I really appreciate you all so much. You guys are too. We'll just keep doing what we do. We'll keep putting in the work. We'll keep doing the heavy lifting. And we'll get through 2025 together. I really appreciate you guys so much for coming along on this crazy ride with me. And I appreciate you helping me get over 500,000. We're already at 506. So you got to stop and think. We did that all. I put that plaque on the wall. That's for 100,000. I put that on the wall back in April. Oh, I got it in May, I think, but I got the plaque in May, but we reached that milestone, I believe, in late March, early April. And we were at 38,000 in January. I went back and looked at the analytics. We were at 38,000 subscribers on January 1st of 2024. So that's a long way to come and a long way to grow, and I really appreciate you guys so much for coming along with me. I hope everyone has a great day, a great week. I'll have more videos coming out later today, so you guys be on the lookout for those. And again, thank you for being here, and we will continue to push forward. So, I know we're headed into dark and uncertain times. We truly are, and I can't sit and tell you that it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows, because you know I'd be bullshitting you, and I wouldn't do that. We're in for the long haul. We didn't get to kick the can down the road, but maybe that's in some way, in some weird and twisted way, maybe it's a good thing that we just go ahead and defeat it now, that we just go ahead and tackle it now and not give it any more time to get any stronger. We just go ahead and take care of it now. So hopefully we will, and we will save our democracy. We've been down before. This country's definitely been down before, and we thought it was slipping away, but we always find a way to rally back, and it's because of good people like you. So thanks for listening, and I will see you again soon.